Anthony Adebayo. We off the record.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes.
You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. We off the record. Anthony Adebayo. We off the record. And the most accurate sports coverage. We off the record. Scotty B's Fantasy 5. We off the record. We off the record.
We're different from any other sport.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B. We off the record. We off the record. Welcome. Scott, you there? You're on mute.
I'm here. Now, so it takes a second to come off of mute, unmute. So it was like a little last time. But what's up, man? How you doing?
We here. Yeah, we here. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Boy, Scotty B.
All right, so there's a special Saturday edition. I'm gonna let y'all know now. We want y'all to comment. We want y'all to engage, but we ain't gonna respond because we not live. We're an illusion. Nah. What's good, man? We had a rather eventful week.
Yeah, nah.
It was between us in Vegas. The NBA, the Knicks going crazy in the first round. Other things happening. The Lakers getting eliminated, coaches getting fired, and I think the biggest elephant in the room is the onslaught of diss tracks between Drake and Kendrick. I don't know where we should start.
Let's start with that. Because, I mean, everybody's been talking about that, and it's like hip-hop civil war, right? And we always have said sports and hip-hop are synonymous, right? It just goes, like, hand to hand. But Kendrick and Drake basically put out an album. Diss tracks against each other.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, just think about this for a second. EP, normally people drop EPs and that's about 5 tracks.
Right.
We got that in 2 days. We got that in 2 days. So I think it was a total of 8 songs, I believe. Or it might have been more than that. Kendrick. I mean, we're gonna count like that, right? We'll use like that as the intro to the album. You know, you got like that, and then you got you have push-ups and tailor-made freestyle, and then you got Euphoria.
I think it's 10 of them.
Yeah. Because then you got Euphoria, then you got I believe after Euphoria was
16
in LA. Then after 16 in LA, you got Family Matters,
Family Matters, Meet the Grounds.
Yeah, you got Family Matters, Meet the Grams. Then you have
There's 2 more by Kendrick, right?
Yeah. Then you have we said Family Matters. No. Then you have this.
Oh, you about to play it? Oh, you big time? You about to play it?
You heard in Vegas. They debuted in Vegas while we was there.
Mustard.
Because we gonna get into it.
So I like the beat on that.
Controversial Scott. What's up, Scott? Hey, I'm gonna tell you this.
All right, no. So we gotta get into this, right? Because I think the culture is divided.
All right. So before you go, I just want I'm gonna put this disclaimer out for me. I am a Kendrick fan and I am a Drake fan. I choose no sides. So I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen to both sides without bias, without any of those. So that's just my disclaimer. You know, how Scott feels is how Scott feels.
So I have the same disclaimer, right? People know that I like Kendrick. I'm on a record as liking Kendrick as an artist, and I like Drake. So I don't really care who wins. I don't care. It doesn't matter, right? Because I think we all can agree that this battle, it wasn't going to impact really neither one of their careers. They were both big enough to where like they could do this battle against each other and it not like affect too much of what they had going on.
Right.
Lyrically, I think Kendrick's stuff, his songs were more complex, right? He had a lot more subliminals in there if you really listen to him. Where I think where the battle, in my opinion, turns is if any of that stuff was factual.
Okay.
Or if it was made up to exaggerate his points. So I think he was winning the battle, but if Drake fed him false information and he made a song based off of that, and a lot of that information, if it really was not true, I got to give the edge to Drake.
All right, so some may say the truth doesn't matter because a lie may be more entertaining.
So the pedophile stuff, I don't know if that was entertaining or just kind of.
I mean, that was rather disturbing to me, but
yeah, it was kind of disturbing to me. So I don't know if that might have been too far.
I don't think at this point, I don't think that there's a too far with these two.
No, it definitely, the gloves were off.
So I'll say this, right? And some people may not agree. Now, Like That came out, and they talking about rapping and things like that. And Drake did say something about Kendrick's partner, his baby moms or whatever. Now with that, Kendrick came back and said something about his kid, right? And then that's when Drake came back and said something about Kendrick's kid, and back in the days, like the old days, women and children were off limits. That's how it used to be. That ain't the case no more. Especially with these two guys when they're trying to get as filthy. I mean, they try to get as filthy as possible. So I feel like so right now, the culture says that Kendrick has won, right? As of right now. I'm no fool. We've seen Jay-Z and Nas, we've seen Biggie and Pac, we've seen other big time artists, Ice Cube and NWA. We've seen a lot, right? So I personally don't think that this is over. I feel like their camps probably said, all right, let's chill for a minute, because I mean, they oversaturated the right. streets with diss records. And it was like, all right, let's chill. We went a whole week. I'm not one of those people that feel like, oh, this is scripted and blah, blah, blah. I don't feel like that. I think that.
Oh no, I don't think this was scripted.
They're way past, So everybody get that out their mind. Now, I don't feel like it's a knockout by Kendrick. Me personally, I feel like in this series of songs, I feel like Kendrick is either winning, the winner. If we're gonna just say this series of songs, Kendrick is the winner, mainly because mainly because every song that, they both have a lot of range, right? None of the songs really sound the same. And I think that he kind of stayed a step ahead of Drake. I think Drake's Heart Part 6, to me, I think Drake needed something more upbeat than the Heart Part. I felt like the Heart Part 6 was too slow, and and so that's why I give the edge to Kendrick. That's not saying that Drake can't go away for vacation and come back and drop a bomb and say, I'm him.
So for me, I agree with everything you said until I listened to them all again. So yesterday I listened to all of them again.
And we're gonna give y'all a link to listen to all of the tracks straight like that.
So bar for bar, like you gotta get at the Kendrick, right? But when you go back and you listen to what they're saying, a lot of it is false, or it hasn't been proven, and it doesn't hit the same as it hit the first night that it dropped. Like, I'll take an example. I use Meet the Grounds, for example.
Okay.
When I thought that Drake was hiding another child, that song hits totally different. But when you find out that, okay, they fed him that he really doesn't have another child, then it takes away from, okay, what did I find out different from Drake?
It takes away from the
and to me, that's a huge part of a diss track, right? When you listen to a diss track, and this is just me, it's not all about bars, it's what did I find out that I didn't know? You know what I mean? Like, what are you telling me that I can't find out on social media? The behind the scenes, like the Day Free thing. If that's true, I mean, hey, nobody knew about that. Now, the gambling problems and all that, didn't know that about Drake. Bad with money, all that stuff. Didn't know that about him. So
I don't know if that's true. What? So here's my thing. What in Drake's life shows us that he's bad with money? I don't see.
It could be behind the scenes. Like, maybe he's been down big on the betting tip to somebody, and people know things about that. So I mean, that's where I look at. Okay, so one diss tracks from Kendrick, it talks about infiltrating his camp. Well, if he didn't really infiltrate his camp and they fed him the information on purpose, it sounded good when it came out. But then looking back at it, okay, if he really didn't infiltrate his camp, that diss track becomes irrelevant. Then the Meet the Grams, if he really wasn't hiding a child and they fed him that, and then he made up a whole verse about it, it kind of strikes away Meet the Grams.
So pause it real quick, Scott. Pause it real quick. Okay. Hold your thought. Because now that you bring that up, it's funny. Because this is funny. Because he went that angle, right?
Yeah.
On Meet the Grams. The next song was Not Like Us. He didn't even he said, which is smart. He didn't even touch that part. And then he went to a different angle of, you a pedophile. You like young girls. And I'm like,
yeah. He had to step away from it. So listening to that and going and switching that angle.
It's tilted. It's tilted.
Yeah, right. So no, but we have to talk about these things, right?
Yeah,
because
absolutely. I agree.
From a cultural standpoint, if you really look at it, bar for bar, Kendrick, it is right. It's not really a comparison. I think you summed that up pretty good. To where, like, if Drake comes back with another one, maybe it's even. But right now, as we stand lyrically, edge goes to Kendrick. But if the storyline and everything, and you have to go back and you have to listen to these things, right? Because he set up the whole narrative in Euphoria. He set it all up and everything else. If it was all set up based off of a false premise, it doesn't hit the same. And if you go back and you listen to push-ups from Drake, and you listen to what he was saying, and you listen to where in push-ups he set up that narrative And then he goes on and on and on to really tell you, like, okay, at the time, I didn't understand who Whitney was. But then he dives deeper into that Whitney storyline or the splits, you know what I mean? That he's talking about not just the splits that he's sharing with Top Dog, but he split with his girl. So he starts to dive into little things like that, to where it's like
more entendres, man.
or it's more on time, or I'm popular in Japan. You know, that's the woman that Future was messing with. You know what I mean? A lot of people, I was thinking like, well, hey, he's a global artist. He could sell out in Japan, but how his
hey, listen, Scott was prepared for this. Scott was prepared. He was ready to break it down. Because
I've been listening to it. Yo,
I gotta tell the people this. I've had multiple conversations with Scott about this over the last week and a half. And this is the most I feel like he was saving this for the show. Because he didn't say none of this when we was in Vegas. He said none of this yesterday. He think he's slick. You think he's hey man, keep on going.
No. I just been listening. I knew we were going to have to get to this,
I feel like this is Jamal's fault. Our good old buddy Jamal forced Scotty to listen. He forced him to get his notepad, because Scott's he's a real technical guy. He will get his notepad, and he went to the lab. But go ahead.
No, but real talk, I think it's a good debate, right? And I understand the Kendrick angle. You know what I mean? And I get it 100%. Like, if you go bar for bar, song for song, you got to give the edge to Kendrick. But I think what's being lost in this, and if I'm Drake, I'm looking like, man, y'all believe all this bullshit? You know, and that has to be part of the conversation.
Yeah, nah. I mean, you're right. But we play a Kendrick joint. Which Drake joint? We gotta give Drake some love. The Family Matters or Push Ups?
I like the Family Matters, man.
All right. Excuse the language. I don't use this language in my normal life.
So this was my favorite song about it. Euphoria, and this one was my favorite.
Go ahead.
Euphoria was my favorite Kendrick song, and then this was my favorite Drake song.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah, hey, this. So here's the thing. Listen, you know. All right, so I feel like Drake thought he had this in the bag when he did this joint, and then Meet the Grams came out, and which, of course, again, Drake. No, Family. Yeah. Meet the Grams came out after, but Drake was supposed to follow up Meet the Grams with a banger. He was supposed to get to Kendrick before Kendrick got to him with Not Like Us, because that joint is a bop. Like, that beat is crazy. The beat is crazy. So Drake was supposed to get to him, you know, in due time. But you know, we gonna talk some more about that joint a little later, you know, down the road when we get more info, because I'm sure something else is gonna happen in this beef, you know. And before we get off the music part, now you got Future and Gunna beefing, and you got
Rick Ross and Game.
It's a lot going on. It's a lot of tension. You still got Nicki and Megan. They still beefing. Megan dropped something with a bunch of shots at Nicki. I mean, it's mayhem right now. It's like the Royal Rumble. It's like the Royal Rumble. And it ain't bad. This Drake and Kendrick thing, it's reached every platform: ESPN, MSNBC, CNN, your local news, your sports commentary. I was watching a baseball game, and the commentator said he got more hits this week than Kendrick Lamar. I'm like, God, dang, yeah, like, well, what is happening right now? So I mean, at the end of the day, I think that it's good for hip hop. I think Kendrick hasn't been bigger since he's never been this popular as an artist. He's always been critically acclaimed, but he's never been this popular, right? Ever, and that's what's up. So we can move on to basketball, NBA playoffs. It's so I just want to say I know Minnesota lost in game 3 at home by 27, I believe. Doesn't matter. I still got them beating Denver in this series. But let's start with New York. They beat Philly in what could have been the most physical game. I mean, most physical series of the playoffs. I think it was, ultimately that series was so physical that right now it's affecting them in this series with Indiana because you got guys dropping like flies.
Yeah, I've been pretty impressed with my Knicks. Even last night, they had an opportunity to win that game. If it wasn't for, I keep messing his name up, New Breed or whatever his name is. If it wasn't for the heroics, him, I believe we would have won that game. That game was a must-win for Indiana, and it got physical too. I mean, it was a physical, drawn-out slugfest. I mean, both teams are playing as physical. I mean, the Knicks, I want to say this about Hart, Vinicius, Brunson. I mean, those guys are balling. I mean, they are balling. And they're holding it down for New York, man. I mean, those guys are just, it's not like they have a whole bunch of skill. Well, they have a whole bunch of skill, but like you wouldn't look at them and you say, okay, these guys are stars. They're just going out there and just making stuff happen. So I'm super proud of the Knicks. I still think we can win the series.
Okay.
Especially get Obi back.
Yeah. So I have the Knicks winning this series. I have Boston winning their series, even though they got their boots smoked. In regards to this Knicks series, I feel like the injuries are slowly catching up to them. Do I think that they could get through this series? Yes, but I feel like they're so undermanned right now because they're pretty much running with 8 guys, 7 guys, 7, 8 guys, so it's kind of rough. So I think that if the Knicks get through this, if the Knicks find a way to get to the finals, which I mean is a tall order because they got to get through Indiana and they got to get through either Boston or Cleveland, which I believe is going to be Boston. I feel like it's gonna say a lot about Jalen Brunson. I mean, it's gonna have to be him. He's probably gonna have to average like 30, 35 for them to get over the hump. And he's banged up. So if the Knicks feel like they gonna make that next step, it's gonna have to be on the back of Jalen Brunson.
Absolutely. I think he's up for the challenge. I think yesterday he had a little bit more of an off game than we seen from him. But like you said, like the entire team is banged up. It is a very tall order for them to win the series, but series is 2-1 their way.
Right.
If they can somehow find a way to win 2 more games, I wish I think yesterday probably would have been the knockout blow to where they would have won the series if they could have found a way to win that game.
Mhm.
But I think the momentum has now shifted to Indiana because at the end of the day, each team just has to really protect home court. And if they even up the series, then all that momentum is going to be lost. But yeah, super proud of Jalen Bronson.
So I figured they would lose game 3. I just think that you sitting OB. So we'll see. Game 4 is Sunday, right?
Game 4 is Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah. So and game 4 of Denver, Minnesota is Sunday as well. But Boston had a big lead, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Boston had a big lead at home and they blew it and lost like bad at home. Does that concern you?
No. Watching that Cleveland Orlando series, Cleveland is just on borrowed time. Now, does that mean that? So this is what I'm worried about with Boston, and not really worried because I'm not a Boston fan, but they're beatable. All the remaining teams, I don't. My heart is going to say the Knicks, but it's going to be a very tall order if they make it out of the series to go up against Boston. Indiana, I think, has the team that could do it, but I don't think they could really beat Boston. But when you look out west, I think Denver can beat Boston. I think Minnesota can beat Boston. I think Dallas matches up well with Boston. And that's what I would be concerned with if
OKC? No OKC?
OKC too can match up with Boston too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So you know what's weird about the Celtics? They have their stars in Tatum and Brown, but it's sometimes you're sitting there and you're like, Jason Tatum could take over this game. Or let me rephrase that. Jason Tatum should be able to take over this game. And it's like he doesn't, and it's like it's weird. It's weird because for years we've seen. Remember the time when LeBron was in the East, right? He was in Cleveland. And let's go back to forget the original Cleveland run. The Miami run in Cleveland, and he pretty much was like the boogeyman to the Hawks, to the Celtics also, and they couldn't beat him. and even when LeBron had not the best Cleveland teams, he was still like Toronto too. Remember they called it LeBronto. Like they just couldn't beat him. And I feel like, huh?
Said the Wizards couldn't beat him either.
Yeah. So I feel like right now is Boston time. They can have everything. It's like there's no reason, like all jokes aside, no bias. There's no reason they should have lost to Miami. I know Miami's a tough team and all of that, Jimmy Butler, Bam. But if you compare the teams, there's no reason Boston should lose to Miami. You know what I'm saying? And it's something about I don't want to say killer instinct, but I guess it's leaning towards killer instinct because they have everything. Even when they had Marcus Smart, they still had everything at their disposal. They were always considered the deepest team in the East. And some may say in the whole league, but definitely in the East, they were the deepest team, but they could never put their foot on their necks of any of their opponents. It's always some give and take. Oh, y'all can have a couple games here. No. We're gonna take, and it has to be on Jason Tatum. He's their best player. He needs to put them on his back and show them that they're the dominant team in the East, right? It just feels like who did Boston play in the first round?
Who did they play in the first round?
I don't remember either.
Forgot.
Yeah, clearly, but they did what they were supposed to do. It wasn't even close because we don't even remember. It wasn't. I don't remember who they played, but nonetheless.
So let's go back though. So because you're making a good point, and me and my dad was talking about this, and it ties back into what we were talking about with the Knicks, right? Right now, because there's no stars other than Jalen Bronson, everybody's just playing. They're just playing ball. You know what I mean? Like, you're open.
Boston played the Heat.
Yeah. If you're open, you shoot the ball. Ball goes to the open man. We don't care who scores, just as long as we get a bucket. And we're just going to play as hard as we can. I think a lot of times when you get with these star-studded teams and they have all these stars, it gets to a point to where Jason Tatum can take over the game. But is he worried about how many touches Jaylen Brown gets? Is he worried about all the touches that everybody else gets? And it becomes more of instead of everybody balling, but just a more scripted type of balling, to where, like you said, Jason Tatum can go out there and dominate, but is that impacting the rest of his team negatively? Instead of everybody worrying about their stats, are they more concerned about getting the actual W? And I think that's what we see a lot when you put like these star-studded teams together, is people aren't really checking their egos for the better cause. I mean, if you get a championship out the deal, nobody's going to remember if you had 13 points in Game 5, if you fed Jaylen Brown the ball because he was the hot hand that game. You know what I mean? And you play basketball that way, to where, okay, if you're hot, we're going to get you the ball. If you're open, we're going to get you the ball. Not where you're Jason Tatum, you have the big contract, we're going to make sure that you get 30 touches a game. And Jaylen Brown, oh yeah, we paid you all that money, so we got to make sure we get you 25 touches a game. So it's an interesting outlook.
Yeah, and I feel like there are times where they don't do what they're supposed to do. It's just like somebody, like, they should be winning series. Like, get a sweep for once. I mean, they may win this series in 5. They may, but Cleveland is making life hell for them. So. And Donovan Mitchell is a dog, right? And you would want to see him. I don't know how long he's going to be in Cleveland, but I would definitely love to see Donovan Mitchell in Miami. But
so let me ask you this, and Donovan Mitchell is a dog. All right, so we're going to get to all the other players, but there's been a lot of talk about Anthony Edwards and his Michael Jordan comparison. He came out yesterday and said, hey, that's nice. I'm flattered, but I want to be compared to Anthony Edwards. I don't want to be compared to Michael Jordan. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with him. I mean, he's his 3rd year. I mean, I feel like I get the comparisons, right? It's just the way he carries himself, right? He's a dog. I think, like I stated a few weeks ago, I think if he's not right now, in the next 2 or 3 years, he will be the best player in the world. And because he plays defense, he can score. He'll dunk on your neck, and he has, aspects to his game that compare to Jordan. Right, and we get it. And I think the main thing is his attitude, and his "I'm trying to destroy you" by any means necessary, and it looks real Jordan-like. But I think those need to simmer down. Like I don't.
Yeah.
I think that that's it's a bit much. You
Right.
know, he again, he's a dog, and it just feels like it's a bit much. Let's just calm down. Let the kid be the kid,
Right.
and let him continue to lead. Now here's the thing. If he goes and wins a championship, not saying that he's gonna win a championship. If he goes and wins a championship this year, those comparisons are coming back, you know, because it's gonna be a shoot. Jordan didn't even do that.
Something I like what you said yesterday when we were talking. Can you go into like the two bigs? Because I think that makes
So I feel like the way that team is constructed, there's going to be a lot of people that's going. So you have 2 7-footers, right, that are athletic, but you don't. It's not the old school. I would even say Tim Duncan and David Robinson, right? It ain't that. What it is, you have Gobert, he's won another Defensive Player of the Year. He's a rim protector, and he does all these things that Karl Anthony Towns doesn't have to do, right? Karl Anthony Towns can spread the floor. He'll shoot a three. He doesn't play with his back to the basket as much as people want him to, but now he really doesn't have to because they have Gobert and they have all these other pieces. And I don't know if people have noticed, before Anthony Edwards and Gobert have gotten to Minnesota, Karl Anthony Towns ain't really play no defense like that. Like, teams just go at him. Now you look at him, all of a sudden, he's playing better defense. I don't know if it's his environment. It definitely is, because
defense is contagious.
Yes,
defense is contagious.
Jimmy Butler was there, and everybody knows Jimmy Butler plays defense, but it was different, right? So now that you have a Gobert, and he's gonna, and you don't have to worry about him scoring, right? You have Conley, you got Edwards, you got Cat, you got all these other role players that can score when they need to. Gobert don't really got to worry about scoring. Will he get some points? Yes, off of rebounds, but I feel like with them having those two guys, there's going to be a lot of teams that's going to try and duplicate it, right? And because this is what's giving Denver issues, like two athletic bigs that they can rotate onto the Joker, and again, you're not going to stop the Joker. He's really going to get his, but I feel like having those guys and they don't do the same thing makes a world. Because I remember when and we talked about it. You said Gobert had a bad year his first year in Minnesota, right? But they don't. I know a lot of people had an issue with them going to get Gobert, right? Because they're like, he's another 7-footer. You know, it's the game is a perimeter game now. Why do you need to? But Karl Anthony Towns is damn near perimeter player, and it's going to stress you out defensively, because if he spots up for a three, more times than not he's going to make it. So now you just looking crazy. It is what it is. You better figure it out, right? And if you try and run out on a three, you're gonna have Anthony Edwards driving the lane and dunking on your neck. So they present a ton of problems, and I think the most underrated acquisition or the most underrated player on their team is Mike Conley.
Absolutely.
I know Anthony Edwards is going to get all the praise, as he should, but this team is going to run through Mike Conley. He's going to be the orchestrator, and he's going to make sure everybody, he plays defense too. So Minnesota causes a lot of mismatches for everyone. I think if they were in the East, they would be the 1 seed. I think Boston would have had Boston. If Boston and Minnesota play in the finals, unless Jason Tatum goes Super Saiyan mode, Boston they're gonna struggle with Minnesota because and they don't have Porzingis. So it's if Minnesota get through this series, I mean, the next team they play is gonna. Dallas or OKC is gonna present them problems. It's tough in the West, man. And if you go through that and you get whoever gets to the finals out of the West is by far gonna be the favorite to win the championship. You'll be way more battle tested. So I don't know, man. I don't know. So we could talk a little bit of football before we get out of here. I know I ain't So the Browns. I promise you I didn't mean to say the Browns. The Bears named Caleb Williams started day one. How do you feel about that?
So I understand and I agree, but I think people want to see people work a little bit like harder before they're like giving those titles. Even if they are the number one overall pick, they want to see them go through training camp, mini camp, earn the respect of their guys, like and just get that title, not just from day one before training camps even started. You're the day one starter and you've never even taken a snap in the NFL.
So I just feel like it's different with Caleb Williams. I commend the Bears for doing this. Like we're not playing around. He's our starter. And if you think about it, who else were they gonna put? Like
you
go ahead and start that. I don't even know who their backup is.
I think they got Teddy Bridgewater. I think they brought him in or something like that. I gotta look.
Either way, I think
all this Madden stuff, man. So
I feel like they kind of had to do it. And there's no point in like messing around and saying, all right, this is he may be the starter. Oh no. Oh, hey Scotty.
What's up?
Let me tell you who the quarterback room is.
It probably makes sense to why he started.
Hey, Bridgewater isn't there.
Okay.
So you got Caleb Williams.
Okay.
You got Tyson Bagent. You got Brett Rippon. And you got Austin Reed.
Yeah, I mean, it was no brainer.
That might have been the easiest decision. That might have been. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this.
They didn't even bring in anybody to even.
Right. So, and that's what I was gonna say. I think that they need to bring in another vet. Like they need to bring somebody in. Like I mean, anything can happen. Like anything can happen. I think that they need to. They have to bring in some sort of vet, whether it's Bridgewater, whether it's somebody, because that right there ain't gonna get it done. Because if
there is the recipe for your season to end, if anything happens to Caleb,
they have to bring in a vet. All those guys. I mean, even Brett Rippon is pretty young too. So, I feel like. Yeah, they gotta bring somebody else in. There's no way they're gonna go through Cambridge. They're gonna bring another quarterback in. I'm almost certain about that. But yeah, rookie camps, rookie mini camps, started this week, and I mean, it's there for the taking, man. I'm excited about the NFL season. The schedules come out this week, so tickets are going to be on sale almost immediately. Any particular games you plan on attending?
Shoot, man.
I mean, the Cowboys do play the. I might not even go to no Cowboys games this year, man. Nah, I am. I would not.
The Cowboys 49ers play. We got to go to that game, and I think it's time to take a trip to Atlanta. Like the Atlanta Saints game.
That's a good game to go to.
Or go back to New Orleans and watch the New Orleans and Atlanta or something. So
yeah, I mean, whew. So yeah, man. But hold on one second, man. I feel like it's only right. It's only right that we Nah, I ain't even go. I was gonna play the songs again, but no, we about to get out of here. I know it was a quick episode. It's Saturday, and we got stuff to do. But nah, happy
Mother's Day.
Yeah, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I haven't shared this, right? That well, it. I've been covering, the UFL games with the DC Defenders, and it's been a cool experience. So tomorrow they have an early game. They play at noon, and I'm getting a little flack. No, I'm not getting no flack. It's all good. As long as the moms are taken care of, everything is good.
Right.
Nah, but no, man. Again, happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. I think is that it?
That's it.
We done?
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. So before we go, so Kendrick hasn't officially won. Are you saying it's a draw?
Yeah. I know that. I think we gotta have a conversation about the misinformation, man.
All right, so this is what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna set it up because that's what I do.
So right now I get the edge to Drake because of for me the misinformation.
Okay, so we gonna have a round table. And I think that is only fair. I need you there because every time off the record host a round table, you always find something else to do. Yeah, you always give me that.
Well, hey, I know my lanes. You know what I mean? My lanes are sports. When we start venturing over into politics and all that type of stuff. I
try and stay away from
topics. Yeah.
I got you. But nonetheless, we're gonna work it out. This is we're gonna gather, some Drake fans. We're gonna gather some Kendrick fans.
I don't think there's one out there, man.
Huh?
I think so.
No. There's definitely still Drake fans. If anybody think that, and then we're gonna gather the guys that like myself.
We gotta get Earn on here because he's been following this.
We'll see.
And Jamal, some of the other guys. Get them on here.
It ain't just gotta be guys, man.
Or get some of the girls. Yeah, get
the ladies. The ladies got a voice too. So,
absolutely.
Nonetheless, we'll have a round table in regards to this Drake versus Kendrick joint. And
I will say though, this beef taught me that phrase that it's lonely at the top. Drake gives a whole different meaning to that.
Yeah, I mean,
like God, everybody was going at that man.
Yeah, I mean, it happens, but sometimes when you Thanos, everybody's gonna come at you.
Yeah,
but that's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. It looked like Endgame.
But look, win, lose, or draw, he held his own against everybody.
Yeah, some of them, like he said, was waving white flags. They thought about it, and at the end of the day, J. Cole looks like the smartest man out of everybody. He looks like the smartest man in the room because he said, "You know what? This ain't me."
He's shit to do. I ain't got time to be in the
Yeah. But nonetheless, man, we're gonna get up out of here. This is Off the Record. I'm Anthony Adebayo.
Boy, Scotty B.
We out. Anthony Adebayo.
With you there, but if you're a coach, do you take that chance?
Yes. You can reach us at the Off the Record Show at gmail.com. Anthony Adebayo and the most accurate sports coverage. Scotty B's Fantasy 5.
We're different from any other sports.
His sophomore year. Comes back and says, you know what?
And your boy, Scotty B.